Alrighty, so welcome back here to Play Live. This is day 3 of the main event. Just a little bit of an update for all of you people logging in right now to see the conclusion of this main event. We had a complete server and system reset. Yeah, it might have been due to the weather outside, so we do apologise to all of those people who were expecting us to come back 40 minutes ago at 8:50. Was told from the studio downstairs that the whole system crashed to the maximum, so we had to restart and do everything all over again. The graphics, as you can see on the screen, have been set to their default setting, so we're not going to see the same sort of setup as we usually have down here at Play Live due to this system failure. So we do apologise to all of the viewers who have stuck by us for this evening. We're going to be calling this just on default settings here, and we can give a little bit of an update on what happened to Vincent Wan, who unfortunately for him came fourth in this event. There was a bust out during that complete system outage due to the weather down here in Melbourne, most likely, but we'll get to the action here in just a second. As it was called from Charlie in the small blind, check from the big blind from Daniel Lee. Flop came down ace king deuce. Charlie, as you can see, has got a huge chip stack now, over 10 million. I'll get to that in just a second. Talk about how Vincent Wan busted.
Man, he had 6 big blinds, 7-handed, and now is second in chips with 3 remaining. Crazy.
Yeah, so as you can see, the graphics on the screen have gone back to the default settings. It's all we can provide you at the time being, but it's better than nothing. And we do apologise to all of the viewers who have stuck by us the entire day to see the conclusion of this main event. But we're working with default graphics at the moment. Now, we'll give you a little bit of an update. We are down to 3 players here. As you can see, Nelson still in there, Charlie Hu and Daniel Lee. Our 4th place finisher, in this event was Vincent Wan. I do have a little bit of information about how he got busted, so I'm going to bring you that information right now. So a hand earlier was versus Charlie. He raises, this is Vincent, he raises ace-queen off in the small blind and he jams. That being Charlie, who jams in the big blind for 4.2 million with ace-3 off. Vincent found the call, and the flop came 6-4 deuce. And on the turn, the 3 came in, which gave Charlie a pair of 3s and took that one away for Vincent in a pretty big pot. And then a few hands later, Nelson jams the small blind, and Vincent is in the big blind with king-queen of clubs for about 21 to 22 bigs. It's about the shortest at the table at this particular time. I am reading from a text message on Vincent, so I do apologise. It's taken me a while to get through the hand. He said it's basically a standard call there. And Nelson showed the ace-deuce off. The flop is Jack 8x, 2 clubs, turn 9, and the river was the ace, and that's all she wrote for Vincent Wan, who busted in 4th.
Just quickly getting to this hand, Monkey, just before to cut you off.
Sure.
Nelson continuing his dominance here, flopping a flush against the pre-flop raiser of Charlie, having middle pair here.
Fair enough. And that was all she wrote for Vincent, who was out in 4th position, picking up $28,500 for his efforts in the main event. So unlucky for Vincent, and obviously super lucky for Charlie Hu and Daniel Lee, who are still in this battle against the chip leader, Nelson Dong. Trutsy saying, thank you for the hoodie and T-Monkey. Appreciate that very much. So we get back to the action here. Bet of 250K from Charlie Hu, who did raise on the button, gets a call from the big blind from Nelson, who does flop the flush and just for a good measure also finds the jack on the turn, but doesn't help his hand. He still has the flush, as you can see. And Charlie with second best pair on the flop.
Yeah, I think he's just going to want to check back,
which he does.
You don't need to bloat the pot here with a weak middling portion of your range here. Interesting that Nelson does go for the check call on the flop. Definitely think this is okay to do, but also can use some jack of hearts or ace of hearts as bluffs. So he has just selected to go down the passive route here and keeping in potentially some bluffs from Charlie. Unfortunately for Nelson, doesn't come with bluff, and this one's going to go bet, and I would say a pretty standard fold. Dinesh, no, not heads up at the moment. We are 3-handed, so 3 people left in this main event.
Daniel Lee, Charlie Hu, and Nelson Dong. Daniel might have just quickly ducked off to the bathroom as the action is on Nelson here.
Probably wants to go big. I would say 1.5.
I'll talk about what happened to Wonky. He did bust out in fourth. I did message Wonky directly to find out exactly how he got busted. I'll go through that one more time. For those people who are just tuning in to see the conclusion of this main event, pretty disgusting way that Wonky got busted, but nonetheless, picks up $28,500 for his efforts in this main event for coming fourth. As Nelson Dong bets out $2.5 million at the river here. He flopped a flush, check mark right next to his name. Charlie needed a lot of help, didn't get any on the turn or the river, and facing a $2.5 million bet from Nelson Dong to call here. He does have third best pair.
Yeah, Nelson's gone with an extremely polar bet here. So he's basically saying to Charlie, I have a flush or I have nothing, and therefore making your middle portion pretty indifferent, as we do see Charlie lay that one down, and Nelson taking up a nice pot here. As we can see with these new graphics, Nelson having 56% of the chips in play with 20 million, Charlie second with 28% at 10 million, and Daniel with 5-ish million. So yeah, looking to be a fun FT, last three. Hopefully we can get a bust out and have a really fun heads up. And I believe all three players are quite deep actually. So, you know, I think hold your horses, my monkey, and could be in for a long one.
Yeah, we could be. For those people wondering what happened to Vincent Wonky 1, I'll help you guys out if you don't mind just watching the action for me, Jackson. But basically, a few hands ago, Vincent 1, as you're chewing into the burger rings, he found the ace-queen in the small blind. And he made a raise, and Charlie moved all in for 4.2 million with ace-3 off. Vincent 1 makes the call with the ace-queen. Flop came 6-4 deuce, 3 on the turn. No help to Wonky, who lost considerable amount of chips there against Charlie Hu. Then a few hands later, Nelson jammed the small blind, and Wonky woke up in the big blind with king-queen of clubs. He had about 21, 22 bigs to his name. He was the shortest at the table at the time. He did elect to call. Nelson showed the ace-deuce off. The flop came down jack 8x, 2 clubs. Turn was the 9, no club, and the river was the ace ball, and Nelson got it done to knock out Wonky in fourth. That's exactly what happened to Vincent Wonky 1. For those people at home wondering how he finished in fourth place, that is exactly how it went down. And we are sorry we were unable to bring you the coverage of that, but we had a full system meltdown downstairs. They put at least a half an hour dampener on this stream as the boys downstairs, Seth, had to restart the computer downstairs, the server, the whole kit and caboodle. We lost all the cameras, all the table mics, everything, Jacko. And so we are all of a sudden down to 3 players. And
Nelson has come with limp 3-bet, which is really how his hand wants to play here.
Yep.
I think if he was suited, he could go a couple other ways here, but this is a dicey one. You know, when you do get called by Charlie, which is going to happen, I would assume, most of the time, unless Charlie wants to 4-bet whack this one, which is definitely something that can be done. I do think that you are second in chips here, so you do need to consider that. You also need to consider that the chip leader is trying to bully you because you are the second stack, so you can go either way here. You probably do want to use a hand like this if you are going to 4-bet bluff. An ace that blocks your opponent's best hands. You have some equity when called by kings and queens and stuff like that. And, yeah, and he does whack it. It's well played from Charlie. Or did he... he calls. Okay, sorry, my bad, guys. He does like to go with the passive route, which is probably quite fine. As Dinesh says, Poker X Fitness for the win. That was Nelson's old handle for those who were lucky enough to follow him earlier in his poker journey.
So it's ace-4 versus the ace-3 of Charlie, who did call the 3-bet from Nelson, and the flop comes ace-7-7 on the flop. Have a look at the top of the screen there, 36 outs for Charlie, who at the top.
Yeah, this obviously one's going to chop a lot, obviously, guys. So that graphic is a little bit wrong.
Yeah, we are working with default graphics for those people at home wondering why the feed is slightly different. We had to go back to the default setting to get you the coverage here of the main event. Hopefully we can update the graphics shortly, but we are working with what we've currently got at the moment. So we appreciate all of you joining us for the conclusion and watching what you guys can see on stream. It's the best that we can provide at the moment. Patrick Russell coming in there with a pretty funny comment on Facebook Live saying, too many out syndrome. He's got 36 outs, as you can see, top right-hand corner of your screen. We don't have the chip stacks at the moment. Hopefully we can get that information to you shortly. As Mr. Johnson _1 says, are you using a Commodore 64? No, we're not. We're using a pretty high-powered server and computer downstairs to bring you this action, and I'm not exactly sure why we had the full power outage here, but we are trying to bring you at least the coverage of this to the best of our ability. The jack on the turn brings in the chop. Aces and sevens with the jack, so they are going to chop this pot up, unless, of course, somebody can bluff the other player out of this pot, but I doubt it. Option on Nelson Dong here in the small blind, first to act. He did put in that 3-bet to 1.8 million, Jacko, and Charlie did call with the ace-3. Obviously, Charlie picking up a heart's draw on the turn, so he could take this one away if he can find another heart at the river. Nelson did bet out 800K on the flop. Charlie did call. Jacko?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I was actually going to say Nelson probably wants to check here. We're either sort of way ahead or way behind, and I think this is an absolute no-brainer from Charlie to check this one back. We do have an ace, obviously, which is nice. We don't want to get blown off our equity with a flush draw, as Charlie makes 2 pair, but it is a fake 2 pair, so this is going to be split unless someone is happy to bluff it off. Try to get them off a chop, but yeah, I do think this one's going to go check a lot. And Charlie's definitely going to check this one back, put it that way, if he is given the option, just because, as we said, he does not want to bust here at all. And, you know, Nelson could just have a stronger hand here a very small portion of the time. Nelson's really just trying to figure this one out, as this one's going to go check quite a bit. I think Charlie has nothing to do here but check. We do need to look at the pre-flop action. Nelson's limped 3-bet, which is a very strong polar range. So Nelson has a lot of nothing and a lot of really strong hands. So our ace-x is in the middle of that range. Therefore, we want to just sort of see a showdown here quite comfortably, and he probably is going to mull this one over. He is looking like he's going to bet, which I'm unsure about. I don't know if I love this. He's potentially...
And just flicks in a call straight away. Don't know if you saw that. Nelson just flicked in a call instantaneously with the ace-4. They're going to chop this one up.
Yeah, so he bet 850, which is very, very small in relation to the pot. I don't know if I love that bet. I think you're just getting called by a chop or better and then folding out worse. So I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of that one, but nonetheless, Charlie does bet 850 on the river and Nelson absolutely snaps him off.
For those people wondering, we aren't heads up. We are 3-handed. The chip counts were provided to you just a moment ago. So it's Daniel Lee, Charlie Hu, and Nelson Dong in the mix to try and take down the main event here at Play Live. On a 20-minute delay, we did have a full system shutdown just before. Unfortunately, for those people who were playing along with us all evening, it did take us approximately half an hour to get that stream back up and going, but we are live now here on a 20-minute delay to see the conclusion of the main event here. $472,580 in the prize pool. $106,180 goes to first. Lee Warren, a monkey, heading off for a kipper. He's gone for another sleep, Lee Warren. Doesn't mind a late evening kip.
Lucky King Poker. Graphics change and Jackson
out of the berserker.
We are so back. We are so back, guys. Obviously, hasn't been my series, but for one of these 3, it has definitely been their series. So hopefully we can see some fireworks and we can see some really nice play. We do see Nelson with 20 million in chips, which is good for about 80 big blinds. Charlie with about half of that, so 40. So there is some playability. Even Dan, the shorter stack with 5.6 million, has just over 20, roughly 22 big blinds. So this is a hand that could be fun. This one could be fun. So Charlie can either decide to flat here, dominating a lot of Nelson's openings. I actually maybe lean flat because we don't really want to get 4-bet with this hand when we're out of position. We do dominate some of the openings from Nelson because he's on the button and chip leading, so he's going to be quite wide, opening some weak King X, weak Queen X. But this guy does not care what I say, and he is 3-betting this one, which is fine. I don't think this is a mistake. I think this is quite fine. I probably would have elected to call here, but he does go for a 3-bet, hoping to fold out some of Nelson's junk in his range.
Was that 1.425? I'd imagine that's probably 1.525 should be the raise there because he did flick in a 25K chip. Gets it done nonetheless. So a few more chips going over to Charlie Hu there. 20 million, 11 million, 5.3. We are working with the basic default settings here at Play Live to bring you the conclusion of this event. So we apologise that we don't have the blind levels in there, big blinds in play, and all of the other information that you are accustomed to. We are working on default settings to bring you the conclusion of this main event. And thank you all very much for joining us here on a 20-minute delay across 3 different platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube, and on Twitch, as Charlie on the dealer button here, first to act in 3-handed poker, finds the ace-5 offsuit. It's got 11 million to his stack. He's going to chuck in a raise. Looks like he's just popping it to the structure. The blind's at 125K, 250 big blind ante. Pops it up and makes it 500K to go. Just clicks it. Daniel Lee's going to get out of the way with a 6-7 off. Round to Nelson, he finds the 9-2, so that's in the bin as well. Now, we do have a little bit of information for those people who are interested about what's going on in the deep freeze. I was able to get that information whilst we were completely shut down downstairs.
Hopefully my good friend Chris is still chip leading because I did see him have a lot of chips earlier.
Yep. And what I can tell you, as of approximately half an hour ago, there were 14 players remaining in the deep freeze. They got $95,000 in the prize pool, 95 entries in that event. There was 14 players left. Ben Richardson had 1.6, Francis Sui had 1.8, Travis Endersbury has 950,000, Manny Rodriguez has 2.2 million, Stuart Ballard, I should say, has 2.2 million, Luca Rizziello has 800K, and Shem Goltz had $600,000, or 600,000 in chips, I should say. Table 15 has Lincoln Lin with $500,000. Yu Tong Du has 850. Tampa Anchor has 315K. Stevie the Man has 800K. David Bondiaro has 2.6. Chris Kokonos is in there, as I'm tripping over my words a little bit, has 2.2 million.
Okay, so not
and
bad.
Sonny Maker has $500,000. So Chris, position to potentially take that one down with a decent amount of chips in that particular hand as we get back to the action here at the final 3 players of the main event here, live at Play Live on a 20-minute delay.
I think I'm seeing Dan get a little bit tilted at the moment. He is very card dead at the moment, which can be frustrating. But he probably just needs to calm down a little bit, understanding that he is in a really good chance in this tournament. 3 left. We've locked up 40K already, and he got 106,000 for first. As we saw with Charlie, 6 big blinds is all he had, 7-handed. And he's now got 11 million chips sitting with 3-handed. As Nelson goes for quite a standard C-bet here, as he did limp from the small blind, and Charlie's going nowhere. This could potentially come with raise. We have a pair. We have a backdoor flush draw. And we just kind of want to knock out a lot of Nelson's junk. If we can get a hand like Queen 8 off to fold, it's really, really good. Just because, there are a lot of these two overcard hands that he can have. But also can come with call and just play a bit of a lower variance strategy. It is looking like he's going for a raise, which is fine. He probably is picking up on that Nelson is quite wide, which he has been for the past 3 or 4 hours. And because of that, that means that he's going to be putting the max pressure on these really weak ranges that Nelson has got. So I think if Nelson can wake up with a hand quite soon, I think these guys could play a big one, because Charlie does not seem afraid of Nelson's big stack and his play style. As Kiwi says in the YouTube chat, hit that thumbs up button, guys. And Nelson makes the call with Queen High, so maybe some devious intentions on later streets. He is ahead of some bluffs, like 3-4, 3-5, 4-5, some, 3 to a straight flush kind of vibe, like, 7-5 of spades, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be hard to win this pot if you're Nelson. You're going to have to barrel river quite big, I believe. I think Charlie will check this one back. I mean, when the guys continued on the flop to your raise, he is saying he has somewhat of a hand. Now, in this case, we can say he doesn't. As the ace of spades rolls off on the river, I think this is a really good card for Nelson to start bluffing here. He potentially thinks he may have a sliver of showdown value, but it is a little bit annoying when it goes check, check, and you lose to a measly 2. But it does look like it goes check, check, and Charlie's bottom pair is going to take this one. So really nicely played from Charlie. Did decide that his hand needed a little bit of protection on the flop. Even got some value from a weaker hand such as Queen High and did take that pot. So Daniel just needs to calm down. I think he's walking around really hoping he can pick up a hand quite soon, but no need to be tilted, Daniel. You've put yourself in a great spot to win this tournament. Dylan Gomez in the Twitch chat. How long is the break? How long left, please? Obviously, we are unsure how long left, as this could go for 10 minutes. It could go for 3 hours, depending on how brutal the deck can be to these guys. But we probably will see a break in, not for a while, maybe like an hour and a half or something like that.
Might see if the studio can turn on the table mic down there. I know that at the moment the table mic is muted because we can see it upstairs in the commentary booth. We are working on default graphics and basically the basic settings of PokerGFX to try and bring you the concluding stages of this main event. We did a full system restart at 9:50 when the system downstairs decided to crack the poos, and that was all she wrote. Flop came down Ace King Deuce. As looks like we might get
Charlie,
into
as you
table
can see,
audio
he's got
now.
a
A huge
correct?
chip stack now over 10
I
million.
can hear
I'll get
your
to that
voice
in just a second.
twice. I can hear your commentary from
Talk
previous
about
hands.
how
Wow,
Vincent
he-
One busted.
Man, he had 6 big
And now I
blinds,
can hear my
7-handed,
voice.
and now is second in chips with 3 remaining.
So I'm not
Crazy.
sure if you guys
Yeah,
can
so
hear
as you
that
can
in
see
the
the
chat, but
graphics
we
on
can
the
actually
screen.
hear
I've
our
gone
own
back
voices
to
here
the
from
Default settings. It's all we can
previous
provide you at the time being, but it's
audio.
better than nothing. And we do apologise to all of the viewers who have stuck by us the entire
that?
day to see the
Yeah, I can hear
conclusion
the
of this
feedback
main
there.
event. But we're working with
maybe
default
downstairs
graphics in the
at the
studio.
moment.
You
Now,
might have
we'll
to
give you
kill
a little
that
bit of an update
GFX
again.
for the
2
table
players here.
audio. As you can see, Nelson's still in there. Charlie Hu,
Otherwise,
Daniel
that
Lee
will
put us on tilt up here in the commentary booth.
place finishing.
We are trying to bring you
finisher, I should say, in this event was Vincent
best
Wan.
possible coverage of this main event, but obviously we're dealing with a lot of technical issues down here at Play Live. And a bit of a shout out to Seth downstairs, who's dealing with an absolute nightmare downstairs in the studio, bringing you this footage. We appreciate all the hard work that he's put in tonight. And hopefully you guys at home can stick by us as we try and find a winner in the main event here at Play Live. $1,500 buy-in, $472,580 in the prize pool. The winner is going to walk away with $106,000 and some change. Pretty difficult to commentate on this when we're getting the feedback back here in the commentary booth, and the graphics aren't exactly working for us either, but we're doing our very best, and hopefully you guys can appreciate that. As we get back to the action here, the blinds are 125K, 250K, 250K, big blind ante. Been folded on the button, round to Daniel Lee in the small blind.
Yeah, this
7-6 off.
Yeah, it makes a pretty standard limp on from the small blind. No need to raise this one up, as he does raise this one up to 2 big blinds. This is a quite inexperienced player, I would say. Just raising to 2x from the small blind. I think Nelson's going to pick up on that. And I think with a lot of different hand classes, he would actually pounce on that one. Obviously, with 4 high, he's probably just going to call that one and see a flop. And that's a pretty good start. And that's a pretty good start for Nelson. So I think there's going to be a lot of avenues for him to win this one. Obviously, with open-ender backdoor flush draw and Daniel having 7 high is obviously a benefit. We also do have a lot of 5x in range, a lot more than Daniel does. So I think this is one where Nelson's going to come with a bet at either the flop and or the turn. He does like to check this one back, as he does pick up that flush draw. I may have liked to start seeing him bluff the flop here, just getting a lot of his weaker holdings to fold, having only just 4 high. But he's a much more experienced tournament player than me, so I'm sure he has his reasons. As Daniel now picks up a gut shot himself. So this one is going to be won by whoever wants it more, I think. And as you can see, the equities are running so thin right now, with both players around 50% of the time going to be winning this one. Nelson has 20 outs according to our graphics. Any pair, any straight card, any diamond as well. So a lot of outs for Nelson. And yeah, I think if Daniel does bet, Nelson is going to play this one. He's going to choose to play it passively, as he does.
Oh my God, what a cut at the river.
Yeah.
Daniel just finds the absolute nuts at the river. Well, essentially the nuts. Obviously there's full houses out there in quads, but backdoored into the effective nuts, I guess you could call it. the 7-6 offsuit, finding the gut shot. Here, Jackson Young.
Yeah, and I'm not one to criticize Nelson too often, as I've said many times. He's a much more experienced player than me, so whatever he's doing is probably the correct play for his strategy, definitely. I just think with 4 high on this flop with a lot of equity, I would have liked to bet this one at quite a high frequency, but he does elect with the check, and that has allowed Daniel, unfortunately, to catch up. And, you know, obviously Daniel's ahead with 7 high, but I think Nelson would have won this pot a lot of ways if he bet the flop and or check raise the turn. Or just raise the turn. So, yeah, Daniel's going to be looking to bet here. Let's see how greedy he goes.
It's kind of funny because that's the perfect example of too many out syndrome.
Yeah.
20 outs, absolutely whiffing.
Like 8 is probably the maximum you want, I would say.
Yeah.
And
20 outs,
20's
not enough
definitely too much.
for Nelson, whiffing the whole lot. 8 of spades at the river. Picking up the straight for Daniel, who hits that gut shot. Who, believe it or not, was in front, was 7 high. Nelson, like he said, could have taken this one away from Daniel, but gives him the free card, and he has backdoored into the nut straight. I did originally call it the nuts on this particular board, but obviously there's quads and full house out there, but is effectively the nuts. And obviously the check mark next to Daniel's name. Cannot lose this hand unless Nelson Don can find an unbelievable bluff, but he can't. He puts it straight in the bin, which with the nut low, I should say. So a little bit of information for people who have asked just earlier. Lockie King Poker coming in saying, how did Charlie build the stack? Cooler all in pre. Can give you a little bit of information about that, which was off stream because we had a full system crash. Basically, he took 4.2 million in chips off Vincent 1. Vincent had ace queen in the small blind, got jammed on by Charlie with ace 3 off. The flop came down 6-4 deuce, 3 on the turn. And no help for Vincent at the river there. And then Charlie took that one down for 4.2 million in chips from Vincent. That's how he built up a little bit more chips into his stack for a full double up. So that's the answer to that question, Lockie. And then Steve has come in there saying new graphics. Actually, as a matter of fact, these are the default graphics for pokergfx.io. So we are working on just default graphics at the moment because the system downstairs is not liking us too much at the moment. This is hand number 118 of this feature table. Blinds are 150k, 300k, 300k, big blind ante. They have gone up. Nick Fern saying the commentators are on tilt. Maybe a little bit as I have a sneaky glance over to Jackson. It's been pretty difficult since we came back from that technical issues that we've been trying to resolve for at least half an hour, but we're doing the best we can. So we hope you guys appreciate it at home.
Yeah, no tilt from me personally. I think Monkey's a little bit tilted that his friend Vincent busted and couldn't see it unfold live. But it is what it is, guys. Can't do too much about it. But, you know, we've got a really good 3 final table players left. And, you know, the graphics are still very, very good and very easy to read for us. So we're here for the long run. No stress there. As we do see Nelson come with a very nice small value bet. And
it's going to take it down.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one because you're just getting some folds from hands that you're beating, but also can get some value from some drawing hands and stuff like that, some gut shots as well. So Charlie is really catching up to Nelson in terms of the chip counts. And I'm not sure if Nelson's going to be feeling the pressure. I'm sure that he's going to be cool, calm, and collected. And just wants to retain that chip lead as much as possible.
Steve's saying he actually prefers these graphics over the other ones. So he said a comment before, not going to lie, he kind of likes these default graphics. If you guys like the graphics, let us know. We can potentially use these in the future if you prefer it. Lockie King Poker saying, how is Jackson bringing his run bad to the studio? He's brought in all the coolers upstairs, Jackson. But
I am a little bit cursed at the moment, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully these players doesn't rub off on them.
Adam Burke coming in there saying, doing a great job through all of this, boys. Really professional. Appreciate that, Berkey. So we get back to the action here. Charlie Hu finds the Jack 4 off in the small blind. Daniel Lee next to act.
I like this raise from Charlie. This is quite nice as well. He's gone 2.6x, which is a nice size. You can probably go anywhere from 2.6 to 3x, I think is quite nice. And you really want to use these high-low offsuit junky hands to try get folds from some weaker hands, like some dominating 4x. Like, if we can get a whole fold from, say, Queen 4 off or Jack 6 off and stuff like that. And that's obviously a win when we do flop top pair. But Daniel, obviously, with the King 9 of diamonds not going anywhere, as I'm going to assume he elects to flick it in a call instead of a raise, as he does. And we'll see a flop here. We'll see 3 cards, as Daniel's going to win this one 64% of the time. And just bang, straight in the window. Jack ball for Charlie.
Finds top pair here for Charlie, like you alluded to, Jackson. Daniel needs to play a bit of catch-up. His King 9 of diamonds didn't flop a flush draw, so he needs to find a king ball. Charlie's going to come out with a bet from the small blind after raising it to the structure pre-flop to 500k. Found the call from Daniel Lee in the big blind with the King 9 of diamonds. Flops top pair here, Charlie. Comes out with a bet of 650k. He's got 12 million in his chip stack, Charlie Who. Is Daniel going to float here on the flop? I don't think he will.
It'd be nice to have
He doesn't.
a
Flicks it in.
diamond on the flop just so you have a little bit of additional equity moving forward. We'll see. I'll in the chat. The other graphics are better, but these will do for now. We definitely agree, mate. I think these are quite fine. But yes, the other graphics are really, really nice.
Nathan coming in, doing the exact opposite, coming in with loving the new grey layout. So there's some people who kind of like the default graphics provided to you by Poker GFX, and there's also some love in the chat for the old graphics. It's actually good feedback for us to provide the studio downstairs, which graphics you guys at home prefer. So we get back to three-handed action here, the main event at PlayLive. They're playing for $100,000 plus up top. Down to 3 players, Nelson Dong in seat 1. Seat 4 is Charlie Hu. Seat 5, essentially, is Daniel Lee, as Charlie, first to act on the button here, picks up King 5 of diamonds. Blinds are 150k, 300k, big blind ante. So let's see what Charlie decides to do here on the button. Bit of a rail getting together.
Yeah, we can see Nelson's partner there in the top left corner with the
Hoodie on.
Nice warm hoodie on. So she was actually there when Nelson won the APO, which was really cute to see, and they got a lot of photos and stuff after it. So she's going to be on his rail and hoping he can take another main event down, which is pretty insane. Someone winning two big main events as well. So hopefully, can take it down. Now, this is an interesting spot. Daniel has only 16 big blinds now. So this makes for, in my opinion, a very easy all-in. Obviously, it is annoying going all-in because, you can just run into it. But he does find it. And Nelson in the big blind with the ace-5 of clubs just snap bins that one. And Charlie's going to find a very easy fold here with the King 5 of diamonds once he gets a chip count from the dealer. But, yeah, it's really stress-free, I think, when you are the shortest stack. Obviously, having 17 big blinds or 16 big blinds in that hand makes for a very easy jam for Daniel. 3-handed button versus small blind. And I got a comment from YouTube, Johnson. Jackson, make sure you raise Jack 4 off in the cash game next time. Yeah, please, mate. He's a sicko, Johnson. Have played a lot with Johnson in the friendly home games that we go to. So we'll definitely be trying to raise the Jack 4 off against you next time, mate. Maybe in some Squid Game, and take a big one off here would be nice.
Derry B 7979 saying, please, or Josh, can you please say good night to me? Good night to you.
Will Michael.
Derry B.
How have you
Hopefully you might see a bit later on.
How have you liked Charlie's play on this FT? He's hung in there. I definitely think he's played quite well. I think obviously being short, you have to get quite lucky to find some doubles. But when he has got that stack, he's played really, really nicely. And I think he's been showing some aggression towards Nelson, which is something of note. He does think that Nelson is overdoing it, which he has. As we do see Daniel just pitch the ace-9 of diamonds from the button. This is absurdly tight here. And as Johnson in the YouTube comments would know, Daniel is not a tight kind of player, as we would both know from the home games. So this one is interesting to me. Maybe the moment is getting to him. I think maybe he's hoping that the two guys in the blinds can battle a little bit and he can secure a pay jump. But it does look like Nelson limping the ace-8 offsuit And Charlie is going to be looking to isolate the Queen Jack offsuit. And yeah, 20 big blinds, Daniel. I do think ace-9 suited is good enough for a raise. And then if you get 3-bet, potentially just whacking it in their face, knowing that Nelson's going to be overdoing it against you. As there are a few comments on YouTube saying, not sure how we have found a fold with that hand. As I mentioned, we are playing for a lot of money, so potentially that's gone into it. I think he would have been 3-bet by Nelson as well, so it could have made for a nice whack spot. But nonetheless, we do come to a flop of 7-3 to 2 spades. No help to either player. Nelson's still in the lead. No spades for any player. I think Nelson has a really easy check call here if Charlie does elect to bet, which I probably would see at some portion of the time, but does elect for the check back. As the 6 rolls off on the turn. Nelson with a pretty easy check in this spot. Doesn't need to bet here. Has some showdown. Doesn't want to get blasted off his ace high. Shout out to Renato in the Facebook chat. Appreciate the love in the booth. A few players are wondering if there was a misread on the cards because it's such an absurdly tight fold. I think the graphics are quite fine, guys. So I do think Daniel's just elected to make a very, very tight fold.
Yeah, I think some of the comments coming in on YouTube might have alluded to the fact that he actually picked up the same hand last hand with the ace-9 of diamonds. So it could have been a bit of a lag on the last hand.
Potentially.
The ace-9 of diamonds and then finding the ace-9 of diamonds again on the button and electing not to go with it. So it could be a graphics, but we can find out that from the studio downstairs if you guys are wondering if he actually did have ace-9 of diamonds. Maybe Seth downstairs can confirm that for us and we can give you that information as soon as we get it on hand here. I like this from Charlie. He's going to bet out 750K on the turn. Nelson putting in the call.
Yeah, Nelson's probably wondering this guy has isolated me right? So he's got a lot of these junky sort of jack 4 hands and stuff like that. Maybe picking up some gut shots, maybe picking up some pairs like a 6x or something like that. He may have seen a hand like 6-4 or 6-5 bet deflop. So I think this is going to make for a very easy call for Nelson on the river with the board pairing. He's not really repping a lot. I mean, not that he should have a lot of flush draws here, but flush draws do brick out. Charlie has to go insanely big, I would think, for this bluff to work, as he goes with a block sizing, it looks like, with 450,000 into a pot of 3.6 million. He goes 550,000, and Nelson makes one of the easiest calls he's had all day and will take a almost 5 million chip pot back into his stack. So well played from Nelson, as we do see him extend his chip lead now to 53% of the chips in play.
I've been told from the studio downstairs they're not 100% sure if he did actually have the ace-9, so we might put that down to a graphic glitch, but we might be able to find out at the break or whatever if he did actually have the ace-9 of diamonds and bring that information to you when we get it on hand. But for the time being, it could have been a graphics glitch, but he also could have had it. So it's a 50-50 flip if he had the ace-9 of diamonds. Nonetheless, Nelson Dong's going to take that one down after flicking in the call at the river with ace high, getting the job done. And Nelson just keep raking in pot after pot after pot. Like you said, 53% of the chips in play. I believe that graphic showed just before. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
roughly
correct.
Speaking.
Yes, having half the chips is very, very nice. Three-handed means you are definitely the favourite to take this one down. And Lucky King Jackson, run down, ask him, pretend you're max late regging. I'm not gonna put my imprint on the tournament. Don't want to, I don't want to go down there and tell him he's being too tight. I don't really want to affect it. I mean, anyone obviously can do that, but it feels a little bit weird as the commentator to do so.
Charlie's going to limp in on the small blind with the king 6 of hearts. Daniel Lee finding the king 4 off in the big blind. It's got the option to check or raise if you would like here. And he elects just to check it back. So heads up action between Charlie Hu and Daniel Lee. Off to the flop we go.
Tony's saying he may lose his passport after folding ace-9 of diamonds in three-handed. So I think it may have been an error, guys. So no stress there.
As the flop comes down 10, 9, 5, 2 spades. No help to either player. Daniel does have backdoor spades working for him with a 4 of spades. And that's about it. Goes check from Charlie Hu. Action on Daniel Lee here. He's going to check it behind. Here comes the turn. Brings in the 7 of spades. So spade outs now for Daniel. And please disregard the 32 outs at the top. Like we have mentioned before, we are dealing with some technical issues downstairs in the studio. Hence the reason for why it says 32 outs at the top of your screen. That is not accurate. Goes check from Charlie. Check back from Daniel on the turn. Here comes the river down a dirty. Brings in the ace of hearts. No help to Daniel Lee. This one here is going to get chopped up. Ace, king, 10, 9, 7. They both have at the moment, unless Daniel can find a bluff here at the river.
Yeah, this would be a weird bluff. I do think he's just going to check this one back.
He does.
See that he's going to split the pot here.
He's going to chop it up. Both playing essentially the same hand. Ace, king, 10, 9, 7. So chop it up. Nelson Dong, 53% of chips, like we said before. 19 million. Closely followed by Daniel Lee. Or Charlie Hu, I should say. Pardon me. Yeah, there's 32 outs, including chop outs. Yep. Usually we don't have that particular graphic up, but we are using default settings here with the Poker GFX, which has caused us a lot of problems actually in the last hour or so, but we're trying to bring you the concluding stages of this main event. So we thank you very much for sticking by us until we can crown the winner of the Play Live Grand Prix main event. Here at 129 York Street, South Melbourne. We're on a 20-minute delay on Facebook Live, YouTube, and on Twitch. And we appreciate all the comments coming in on all of those three platforms.
Yeah, Dinesh has come in with a comment on YouTube. How do people play for so long? And it's definitely funny because we were just talking to Daniel Gabriel, who busted in 6, and he said he was mentally and physically exhausted after 14 hours of poker yesterday, including a 2-hour bubble. And then obviously having to wake up and do it again. Unfortunately couldn't get the win, but has been playing since, I think, 1 p.m. So he did stay in there for about 7 hours as well. So it is mentally taxing. You are using your brain in almost every spot, and especially on final tables. It is a very draining exercise for sure. I was talking to someone on the rail actually before, and he said that he was in the money and he got so tired he couldn't be bothered, and he just went all in every hand until he busted. So you do really need to have a bit of a mental fortitude and some stamina in that regard. And yeah, these guys are battling it out in their third day. So there is going to be a little bit of fatigue. So it's pretty easy for us to say from the commentary booth and from the viewer section to tell people exactly what they should have done. But as we know, guys, you can't be perfect every time you play poker, and everyone has a different strategy versus different opponent types. And on top of that, they are also going to be extremely wrecked. So Maysam in the comments section, how we doing, Maysam? Shout out to you. Very unlucky in your heads up with Geordie in the mini main. I felt like you should have won that about 3 times and the cards just weren't in your favor. So very well played. Quite unlucky there. As we do see Nelson with a Queen 2 offsuit. This is potentially going to be a limp or a raise. He does come with limp. And how sexy are those pink chips?
Yeah, very sexy. They're the 500k chips. Have just been introduced into the game. So the pink chips are 500k, 25k for the orange, and 100k for the green. For those people watching along at home or on your device. And here comes the flop. Comes Jack 7, 8, 2 hearts. No help to Charlie. Nelson most likely going to C-bet. I'd imagine he did limp in from the small blind. Here comes the bet.
Your man, Vincent Wan, in the YouTube comment section. Fighting the fatigue is definitely half the battle. You definitely know that more than most, Wonky, so you would be on the ball there.
Bad luck to you, Wonky. I had you $1 to take out this event and actually made a couple of small side bets in the commentary booth with Jackson Young and Daniel Gabriel.
Yeah, I
$100 a pop each that you would take out this event.
I wasn't rooting against you. I just
next
had
thing
to go with the chip leader.
Next thing I find out the system crashes, and then I find out you've been eliminated in 4th. So GG's in the chat for Vincent, good friend of mine. Wonky.
Braden with a really insightful comment there. So cards can never be wrong with RFID if put incorrectly from the start. So when there is a misread hand, it's from the lag, and it is 100% of the time from the previous hand. So when Daniel did fold the ace-9 of diamonds, that was just a lag because he did have that exact holding the hand before, guys. So let's not give him too much grief, and he most likely just had a pretty junky hand that he folded.
Nelson finding the pocket fours, pops it up, makes it 600K to go, just to the structure. The blinds are 150K, 300, 300K big blind ante, round to Charlie Hu. Finds a fairly premium holding here with the ace-10 from the small blind. He's got 11 million in his chip stack. He elects to come along with the call. Daniel in the big blind, facing just 1 BB to call with king 5 offsuit. We could get three-way action here if he flicks in a call for 300K.
It's going to be the first three-handed hand in the whole three-handed experience here. I do really like Charlie's flat pre. I think we're pretty deep, so we don't want to go ballistic here.
Have a look at Party Tricks' comment there in YouTube. Wonky busted and the system crashed. Couldn't handle the bust out. Probably true. Wonky, one of those players who takes down a lot of big events, gets a lot of support in chat too. He's been in and around the game for 20 plus years. Anyway, off to the flop. And the flop comes deuce, king 8. And Daniel Lee, eat your heart out. Flops top pair. No set for Nelson Dong. And no ace or 10 for that matter for Charlie. King 8 deuce, 2 hearts. It's going to go check, check. Option back on Nelson, who did raise this on the button with his pocket fours. Is he going to see bet this flop into a couple of players?
Yeah, would probably prefer a heart here. Betting does achieve a little bit. You can get some, like, you actually may get Charlie to fold ace high because there is a player left to act. So if we did see Daniel with just a hand like, 9-6 of clubs or something like that, we may see Charlie fold and then Daniel fold as well. So I actually quite like this bet. We're getting 2 overcards to fold. We obviously have raised pre-flop, but obviously, as we can see in the graphics, this one isn't never getting through. I'm interested to see if Charlie just bins this one. It is interesting because there is a guy behind you who can have a plethora of hands, including top pairs and stuff. So this is why Nelson did elect to bet here. Obviously, we can see that Daniel does have top pair, so unlucky for Nelson. He is just going to probably lose this one 92% of the time here, but this performs really well. You get a better hand than Daniel to fold, and then if Daniel did have nothing, then we would have seen him fold too. So pretty unlucky for Nelson to run into it.
And a big shout out to Seth downstairs in the studio. He's just letting us know that he's manually controlling the cameras too. So we're dealing with a plethora of technical issues downstairs, and Seth doing an amazing job to bring you guys the coverage of tonight's main event. So good on you, Seth. Appreciate that, as Daniel's looking to make a decision here with top pair. And not sure if he's putting in a 3-bet here or he's electing just a call. Can't quite pick that up.
Yeah, it looks like he's raised.
He has raised.
To 1.8 million.
And Nelson essentially with pocket fours, 2 outs remaining in the deck. As you said before, 8% equity to hit one of those remaining 2 fours. He can't even hit backdoor anything else, essentially. He just needs to find the 2 outs. So 92% favourite Daniel at the moment, who did flop top pair.
Yeah, I think Nelson's going to probably see that Daniel's been quite tight with his bluffs and hasn't really gone too crazy. So when he does raise, we probably have to respect that and understand that he's probably just got a king or at worst a flush draw, and we're not doing great against that range.
Danish coming in there saying, how long do you guys play for until you call it a day? I believe the latest we can play here at Play Live is 5 a.m. But I guarantee we won't be getting to 5 a.m. for the conclusion of this event. I think by that stage, the blinds, there'll probably be about three total bigs in play,
and I'd be
at 5 a.m. and you'll be asleep. Yeah.
I'd be asleep.
So I'd imagine this event is probably going to conclude within the next couple of hours, depending on whether or not Howie, who just jumped into the high chair here, deals out a few coolers.
He's been proud of his coolers. Yeah. Howie did come up to me yesterday and shook my hand and said, "Did you like what I did on stream for you?" And I said, "You're a funny guy, Howie." So yes, he's proud of that one.
He's known for dealing out a couple of coolers, so stay tuned. You might be able to find one here. The final 3 players remaining in the main event. $472,580 in the prize pool. $106,580, I believe it is, for first. 65.6 for second. And third is going to lock themselves up $40,600. Vincent Wan there coming in fourth. Found himself in a very peculiar situation earlier, off stream, unfortunately, due to that system crash. Found the ace queen, raised it up, got jammed on by Charlie Hu with the ace 3 off. And Wonky flicked in the call with the best hand. The flop came down 6-4 deuce 3 on the turn. No help at the river for Vincent, who gave 4.2 million in chips over to Charlie Hu. And then I believe Nelson Dong picked up the ace deuce off, jammed it straight into Wonky, who picked up the king queen of clubs. Flop came down jack 8 deuce 2 clubs, 9 on the turn, and an ace at the river. And that was all she wrote for the man, the myth, the legend himself, Vincent Wan, who went out in 4th position, aka Wonky. And that is how we're down to 3 players here in the main event. Jackson Young.
Yeah, and we do actually see Charlie with half of Nelson's stack now. So we did get to a point where Nelson was 16 mil and Charlie at 13 mil, but Nelson has worked out that chip advantage back into his favour.
Nelson flopping the up and down draw on a 7-7-5 board.
Yeah, great flop for Nelson. Obviously, it is. This is really a really weird hand, and 3-handed and heads up is very hard to play because we are so wide so much of the time. It does make it very awkward because all players can have pretty much any 2 cards, right? Obviously, the big blind can have less good stuff as they would probably raise a wide amount of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But as the small blind, you're going to see that Nelson's going to be limping in some hands that are really, really strong and limp 3-bet them, as well as some bluffs. So as he just works out how many millions of chips he has, should be a nice problem to have.
No doubts about it. As Kiwi Special saying, not sure I can pull another all-nighter, guys. If you can't, we still very much appreciate your support in the chat there on YouTube. Derry B7979 saying, Josh never calls it a day. He sleeps under the table. Yeah, I like to call the action until the conclusion to bring you guys at least some commentary here and to crown a winner. The main event here at PlayLive. It's a $1,500 buy-in. They had 365 entries into this event, generating a prize pool of $472,000 and change. There's a 6-figure score up top for the winner of this main event, as there's a raise on the button from Nelson Dong with the king deuce of clubs. Charlie in the small blind finds the ace-5 offsuit.
Yeah,
Let's see what Charlie decides to do here. I'd imagine he's going to come in for a 3-bet.
Yeah, this is nice. This is quite nice. We do want to use these low offsuit ace-X's to use as some 3-bet bluffs. As Daniel does wake up with pocket 5s in the big blind now, he is sitting at 23 big blinds effective. I do think there has been a little bit too much action for us to do anything about it other than fold, but it is a close spot. If he did have, say, like pocket 7s or pocket 8s or something like that. And Nelson with the king 2 of clubs. It is awkward because there's not a lot of stack depth behind. You can't really race to any size here where you have a heap of fold equity. So there's potential that this hand may be actually a 4-bet 3-handed if Charlie was a little bit deeper. But as played, I think Charlie started the hand with 9.5 million, which is good for about 32 bigs. And he's already put in about 6. So you're going to have to make it like 11 bigs and then fold to a jam. And Nelson's probably trying to work out if this is going to fit into his 4-bet bluffing range. Because with aces and kings and stuff like that, he is going to do it. And he actually has found it.
Wow, great call from you. What a read from the co-conspirator here in the comm booth.
So he's made it.
Jackson Young.
Yeah, he's literally
finding the 4-bet to 3 million.
He's literally clicked it. So this has gone from 2 bigs to 6 bigs and then 6 bigs to 10 bigs. So he's pretty much, well, he genuinely has raised it the smallest size that he can. And he would be doing the same here with aces guys as well. So this is why it's really nice for Charlie having an ace-X. And he's going to work out, is this a hand that I want to 5-bet bluff, knowing that my opponent to my left is actually shorter than me? And this is going to this hand here is a big pendulum swing in the tournament.
Look at the levels in this particular hand.
Man, this is awesome.
Absolutely unreal.
This is
raised
awesome.
to 600K from Nelson Dong. 3-bet to 1.8 million
found
from
it.
Charlie. And here he goes.
Has he 6-bet? Sorry, is he 5-bet clicked? Or is he 5-bet jammed?
It looks like a 5-bet click.
He's clicked it.
He's clicked it back to 4.5 million. Unbelievable from Charlie. Finds the click back.
This is unbelievable poker, guys. This is some top tier
Wow.
stuff. Only you're going to see here. at Play Live.
Yeah, unbelievable, Jackson Young. So just to call the action here, so it was raised to 600K from Nelson Dong, 3-bet to 1.8 million from Charlie Hu. Nelson fires back at him with a 4-bet to 3 million, and Charlie doesn't believe him for 1 second, clicks it back with a 5-bet to 4.5 million. Look at the levels here.
If he 6-bet jammed this, I will.
Wow.
I will lose my. I can't say that word. I will lose my. I will lose the plot, and I think he's just going to fold this one. Unfortunately, he hasn't folded yet. He really wants to 6-bet jam this. I do not know my 6-bet ranges in 3-handed final table poker, guys. But this feels like a hand we want to do it with. Do we block our opponent's best hands having ace-x? No, we have king-x. But we also unblock the bluffs. So this is like an insane spot. And I'm really glad that we found.
I tell you what.
Is he just calling? He's called.
Oh, my God.
What is happening?
I don't know if maybe the system crash from earlier has brought us this
my
action.
God.
This is a raise to 600K, 3-bet to 1.8 million from Charlie. Nelson 4-bets him to 3 million. Charlie goes, I don't believe you. How about a click back for a 5-bet to 4.5 million? And Nelson finds the call. The flop comes down, queen 8-6. Action on Charlie to first act in the small blind, who did find a 5-bet to 4.5 million. So I don't know about you, but I've got a second wind out of nowhere. What a hand. How's the levels in this particular hand? Give me a break.
This is unbelievable.
And let's see what Charlie decides to do here with ace-5 offsuit. Doesn't connect with the board. He does just elect to check his option.
Goodness, he has checked it. And what Charlie's probably thinking here, I'm going to tell you what I would think in this exact hand. And once again, I am not uber experienced in this. I would think that I've 5-bet bluffed here, and my opponent, instead of jamming, has called. Do you know how much stronger that calling range should be? Like, why would we ever call with a hand that should be a bluff? So he's going to think, what is happening in this hand? I have to just be dead here. And Nelson is going for a bet with absolutely nothing. King high, no backdoor flush draw, no backdoor straight draw, and has come with a tiny bet.
If Charlie jams over the top here, this might be the greatest hand of poker ever televised. Honestly, this is unbelievable.
If Charlie calls, this would be insane. Like, what is happening in this hand?
Phil Ivey in the chat there, not the actual official Phil Ivey, saying before the series finishes, just want to say a big thanks for a great week of live poker and commentary. Appreciate that, Phil. Have a look at this here. I would love to see Charlie just jam this straight back into Nelson's face.
Oh my God,
can he pull it?
He's going to fold. He has to fold.
I would just.
He hasn't folded.
Oh my God, this is unbelievable. If he finds a jam here, this might be the greatest level upon level upon level poker in a monster pot. Just
We're
quietly
for $100,000 here, guys.
Holy moly! What a
gangster! This isn't like a $10
hand.
game with your mate where you're just trying out some stuff. This is unbelievable.
Charlie
oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my God! He finds the fold, Charlie, and Nelson's going to get it done.
That is insane.
How's the levels there?
Oh my God! Look at that! Look at what's happened after this hand. 68% of the chips in play now. I've never seen a hand like that in my life.
I tell you what, eat your heart out, poker lovers. That is level upon level upon level.
Oh my God.
You almost can't make that up. 3-bet, 4-bet, and then a 5-bet click back to 4.5 million from Charlie, who didn't believe him. He checks his option on the flop of a 6-8 queen board. And Nelson's going to fire out $1 million on the flop and gets Charlie to fold the best hand with the ace-5. I tell you what, if he had jammed it all in there, Charlie, that would have been the greatest hand of poker, I reckon, televised in the last 6 months. Unbelievable.
That is insane. And as we're seeing in the comments,
wow,
we are excited to see Nelson's Instagram video about that. And if he can take this one down, that is going to be one of the most insane viral hands probably Australia's had in a long time. That is absurd.
As Coolmec comes in there. Wow, Nelson Dong for Prime Minister. Step away, elbow. Give the guy the key to the country. Totally agree with that. That was epic. What a hand. Almost worth the system shut down for half an hour just to see that hand play out.
That is unbelievable. You don't have to tell Josh to figure that out and clip that because that was absurd. As we do see Daniel come with raise here with the ace-3 off. I actually probably prefer limp jam.
We'll get to all the questions in Facebook Live and on YouTube and on Twitch that are coming in about that particular hand. Might be able to pick your brain here, Jackson Young.
He did raise to 2 million, Daniel, which is a very weird size.
There's a question in here for you, Jacko, if you don't mind. It comes in from Dominic saying, do you think the 5-bet was a bit too light?
Now.
Question mark.
Yeah,
Jacko?
I am definitely not experienced enough to commentate and give you my expert analysis on 5-bet pots. But from what I do believe, as we see Julian Warhurst in the chat saying 33, which is obviously Nelson's catchphrase for his coaching, as we're probably going to see a lot of people DMing him tonight if he does pull this one out. The 5-bet being too light, don't believe it is too light. I think with the offsuit ace-x like that, I think it actually does make a 5-bet candidate if you do want to use some 5-bet bluffs. And I do think Nelson's hand is just so insane. I obviously never would have found that. And I don't think many people in Australia would have found that. And now he's put himself in such a great position to take out this tournament. He's got Charlie on the ropes. Charlie having 14 big blinds must be insanely frustrated. He put himself in a dicey spot, 5-bet bluffing, and has been caught out and has been put in the blender by king high, no backdoors. What an insane hand of Poker Monkey. That's one of the craziest things I've seen to date. And man, I'm sure that Nelson either had a live read or that is just genuinely the correct thing to do in Solverland. But he does find it nonetheless.
I'm being dead serious. I had to walk off to the bathroom there and splash some water on my face. What a hand that was. Unbelievable. That's going to trend for sure if Nelson puts that up on his Instagram or whichever social media platform he uses. What a 5-bet, and gets it done too. Unbelievable. Look at the smile on the guy's face. He knew he got away with murder there and takes that one away from Charlie who found the click, and then he clicked it back for a 5-bet level upon level upon level.
And then Nelson just calls with king too high.
It's just unbelievable hand.
This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
So Nelson's got to work out now, and this is what's cool about what's going to happen the next few orbits, guys. Nelson has got these guys on the ropes, right? And he's in a really, really good position, right? So just to work out the table dynamics, he's got the shortest stack on his direct left, and he's got the second shortest stack to his right. That means that he can jam pretty liberally when he's the button, knowing that the big blind can't really call too light because he wants the small blind to bust first. We're going to see an ICM masterclass here from Nelson Dong, and man, what a hand from Nelson, and what a masterclass he's been putting on for the last 2 days.
Eugene Portland coming in there. If he showed Charlie, would have been so tilted and rattled right now. I totally agree. From Party Tricks there, who actually took out the 9 game last night, brought to you by Mixed Games Academy. Shannon Vanderberg, the 9 game that was on last night, the big man Eugene Portland chopped it up for the first prize money, about 10K give or take. So shout outs to Party Tricks, Eugene Portland in the chat on YouTube. But what a hand. That's absolutely unbelievable. I had to go off to the bathroom, throw some water in my face. I couldn't believe it. What a hand. Unbelievable. We'll be talking about that for a long time, I'd imagine, Jackson. A 5-bet from Nelson and took it away from Charlie.
Man,
He found the click back.
I've never seen someone call a 5-bet with king 2 of clubs and then just bet on a flop of queen 8. I think it was queen 8-3, 2 spades. That is unbelievable. And you're right. We'll never see something like that. We won't see something like that for a long, long time, as Daniel is looking to play quite aggressively against the chip leader, which is a little bit of an issue if he does bust. He's rating to 800K.
Oh, Nelson just finds it again. Ace Queen offsuit in the big blind.
He's going to be jamming this one extremely happily.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel's going to have to fold. So he's going to have these 2 guys on the ropes. Charlie with about 13 big blinds now. Daniel with about 20 big blinds after he loses this pot. And, man, this is quite insane. So
no offense here to Daniel, but if Nelson does jam it in his face and Daniel does find the call, he would be in the exact same spot that Nelson put Tim Tam in 3 hours ago, where Tam Trung actually had the ace queen and Nelson Dong had the jack 10 and spiked a jack on the flop. Action back round to Daniel. I don't know if he can call here with the jack 10, but he's going to see if he can sniff it out.
Yeah, so I think what's happening here is he's just saving face. Obviously, they aren't allowed to watch the stream, but I do just think he's tanking to make him hope that he doesn't do this a bit more in the future. You do want your opponent to be a little bit scared of you to do this again. So if you just snap fold every time that this guy jams, he's just going to think that you're weak and never calling, right?
Yep.
So at least if you think about it, obviously we know he's never ever calling this hand for 20 big blinds. But it does maybe put a little bit of fear into your opponent's head, as we do see Daniel now dwindling down to 20 big blinds, and Nelson just has his absolute lock on this tournament. And unless there's a complete disaster, he's going to take this one out. So, man, his students are going to be quite thrilled seeing, you know, all the work that he's put into his game and all the knowledge that he's teaching his students pay off in a massive spot. And that King 2 suited hand is an exemplary example of that one. So, man, what a hand from Nelson Dong. Having 72% of the chips in play. And there is a huge pay jump coming up, guys. So the pay jump from third to second goes from 40,000 to 65,000. So a $25,000 difference. And he does just get the 9-8 suited to fold, which is probably fine. Nelson, obviously, commanding chip leader. And Daniel has to be very, very tight against this specific villain until Charlie busts.
Comment coming in from Rory saying, Back to the Future, it's 2015 again.
And this is the power of it, man.
Absolutely unbelievable. Look at the power of the chips here. All in for 26 million, applying maximum pressure. And he's just going to keep going around and round and round, picking up blinds after blinds after blinds, applying maximum. Look at it, 73% of the chips in play, 27 million. Daniel's only got 20 bigs and Charlie's got 12. So Nelson Dong, a commanding chip leader in this main event. And this one could be done sooner rather than later. Don't worry about the 5 a.m. curfew here at PlayLive. I can guarantee you it's going nowhere close to that time. So stay tuned, get yourself some popcorn, get yourself a drink, and hold on to your seat. Nelson Dong putting on an absolute stripe show out here at PlayLive, showing just how to do it in this main event. Nelson Dong picking up the King 7 of spades on the dealer button. I've got a second win. I don't know about you, Jackson.
Oh, I feel great.
How good do you feel? I feel amazing.
Poker, like three-handed, can get a little bit stale because people can just be card dead. But when you see someone putting on a masterclass like this, it's quite insane to watch, as we do see the up the stakes patch on his chest, and he's going to be probably getting a lot of students after he takes this one home. If he does, if he can pull it out, he probably wins this 80% of the time, and he's just putting on a masterclass
It's
here.
not a jam from the button.
And all that needs to happen is someone doesn't wake up, and these two just really have to fold, and Daniel has to just be insanely tight until Charlie busts, and Charlie's going to have to take a spot eventually, or he's just going to get blinded out of the tournament, unfortunately. So,
yep. As he takes down a few more blinds to go with it, Nelson putting on a stripe show, like I said before, absolutely running away with it. And he is eyeing off that first prize of $106,000 and some change. Nelson Dong, eat your heart out for the lovers of Nelson and all of his followers on his social media platforms. I think regardless of whether or not he wins or loses,
he's going to get a lot of respect.
He'll get a lot of respect one way or another. And I'm sure that he'll have a whole new bunch of students coming in to want to learn from him.
Hey, I genuinely am a good friend of his, but unbiasedly, the way that when we were commentating together at APT, the way he was analyzing hands and just talking about his thought processes and different spots was genuinely eye-opening. So I'm pretty sure you guys can get his content for free. There's like a newsletter or something like that. His Instagram is Nelson Dong, I think, maybe Nelson Dong _, but if you just type in Nelson Dong, you'll be able to find that. And yeah, man, he is going to get a lot more followers after this one, and a lot of people are going to be subscribing to that newsletter.
He gets a walk with the worst hand 2 in the big blind and the 7 deuce offset. So everything going his way.
Well, you're going to have to be scared of him. Charlie's going to have to take a spot, but Daniel can just, like, he can just really wait Charlie to blind out of this tournament or bust, and he's just going to have to be very, very snug, Daniel. And that's sort of how the ICM prison is. And he can have
a look at Daniel.
How tilted he is.
Yeah, Daniel Lee.
He doesn't like to fold hands, but he probably understands the magnitude of the situation, knowing that if he just be patient, he just makes $25,000 just by chilling out a little bit. So a hand like King 2 suited, which is a standard open in most scenarios, is just, I'd assume, going to go straight into the bin. Because Nelson can just jam over the top of you, and what can you do about it, right? And he does just fold, as we alluded to. And Nelson's got a suited gapper, and this one's going to go all in, and we're just going to see his show go on. And at this point, both opponents know exactly what he's doing, and what can they do about it? Is Charlie really willing to call off with like Queen 9 suited for his tournament life and a 25 big blind? $25,000 pay jump. So
finds the natural there. He's got to put that in the bin. Nelson picking up even more chips.
And three-handed, the blinds obviously just come around every 3 hands. So you're just constantly getting farmed, and it's gone from 25 and 18, I believe, to 18 to 9.7. So Charlie's going to have to find a spot eventually. He actually definitely wants to be the 1-2 jam. And as I was alluding to before, Monkey, Nelson does want to keep these guys shallow. So if Charlie jams, he actually wants to fold a little bit more than he should in chip EV, and handcuff Daniel, as this one is obviously going to go all in as well with no deliberation. And this is, honestly, I think this would probably be the most fun you could ever have on a poker table. Being a chip leader in a huge main event and just being able to go all in every hand, and knowing that your opponents can't really do much but click call unless they've got 3% of range. And this is,
I love this. You're seeing an absolute stripe show, a masterclass of power poker at its finest here at Play Live, 129 York Street, South Melbourne. Eugene Portland coming in. Let's give some credit to Charlie Hu as well.
Yes.
Found the one person that 5-bet doesn't get a snap fold from.
I agree. I think finding a 5-bet bluff against a professional like
Unbelievable.
Nelson is credit enough, and he knows that Nelson is super out of line, so he was hoping he would just pitch a lot of his range there, but he actually just finds the call somehow. And we take a flop in an unbelievable scenario, and I think if Charlie had ace-5 suited or something like that, you can either call the 3-bet or you can probably just 5-bet whack it. And when you have offsuit, you don't really want to go all in as much. Just have a little bit less equity when you are called.
Matthew Yan in the Facebook live chat saying destruction, ... Totally agree. This is just an absolute masterclass for you people hanging around to see the conclusion of this main event. Nelson Dong putting on a masterclass of power poker as Charlie picks up the ace-9 of clubs.
Does find it.
He has to jam this all in on the button. Obviously, no decision to be made except for one, which is to whack it all in.
I'll give you an alternative, Monkey.
Yeah,
what
mate.
You can do, right? You don't have to. Make it 1.5 million. If
Okay.
if Daniel goes all in and then Nelson goes
Right,
all in,
okay, I see what you're going with, yeah.
you can then potentially find a fold. He does go the one chip option, which is similar to what I was recommending. However, when you do leave yourself, $1 million behind, you can now find some doubles and actually give yourself a chance to win the tournament. As Daniel hasn't folded yet by the looks of it. We can't
Yeah.
see his cards yet. So this could be it. This could be a bust out as Nelson's partner does start filming, and she's probably quite excited knowing that Nelson, barring a disaster, is going to take this one home. Add another trophy to the trophy cabinet back at home. And Damien says, are we here to just find out who got second place? Hey,
It's great comments in the chat. We very much appreciate all of them.
we did see, so actually, I don't know if you saw this, in the 5K,
Yeah.
Min had 127 big blinds. Bradley Goodman had 18 big blinds, and Liam had 9 big blinds or something along those lines. Amin ended up coming third. And it does show that you can get quite unlucky because Daniel just wakes up with queens here.
Oh, my God.
And this is where with ace-9, potentially we can find a fold if Daniel jams and
let me-
Nelson rejams.
Now, let me tell you something. If Nelson Dong picks up kings here or
I
something
will punch the
sickening
screen.
like that, he finds the ace-jack off. Oh, my God.
Okay. He's going to be in the blender here. So I think we can find a fold here.
Wow.
Just because we have to know how tight Daniel has to be in this spot. But man, what a sick hand. And Charlie finding some extra outs just because he would have got it in quite silly against the ace-jack, but now has an over to Daniel's card. So I do assume Nelson's going to fold this one.
He's got a
Oh,
jam
he's
over
done
the
it.
top. Here it is.
He's done it.
So this
And-
could be the end of the night.
Hey,
Obviously,
Charlie can genuinely
fold here. Yeah, I
fold
know.
here.
I know what you're thinking.
So this is why, Monkey.
Yeah, I
This is
understand the
why
keep
I
the
would
chip
have
behind.
left $1 million behind instead
Yeah.
of one chip.
Yeah.
Because it achieves the same thing. But now when you fold, right, you have a little bit more of a chance. So you have 3.5 big blinds instead of, I think it is, 0.05 big blinds. This is insane. And Charlie's kind of done this to himself and has
Wowee.
priced himself in, as we see everyone around the rail sort of chiming in now. Charlie working out what to do. And I do think he's going to fold. This is literally the reason that you do leave a chip behind, I think, is that you do give yourself an out to fold. But look at the price you're getting. You need to call 25,000 chips to win like, I don't know, 9 million. So this is insane. And we get a comment from CK in the live chat. How are we dealing some heat? And he's going to be very wrapped with himself when I go downstairs. Charlie is folding, hoping Nelson wins also, gets the pay jump. So that's the thing, right? So if Daniel busts, right, we get 25,000 Australian dollars just in our, as Monkey would say, back pocket, right?
Yeah.
But if he doubles up, he's just guaranteed to lose this one. So Charlie's only 12% in this hand. And this may be an extreme spot where we can find a fold, and why I will actually potentially like to.
He flicks it
He
in,
does flick it in.
and Daniel's going to go nowhere either. So
Wow, this could be the tournament, Monkey. I'll let you call it. I'll give you the privilege.
it's pocket queens versus the ace-jack off versus the ace-9 suited. Nelson jamming over the top from the big blind with the ace-jack. If the ace-jack gets it done, he's going to do a double elimination. Charlie's going to be third place finisher. Daniel Lee will finish in second place. Off to the flop we go. Can Nelson find an ace-jack? Or any ace on the flop for that matter?
I just feel like Nelson's going to be.
So do I, man. It just feels like a sick one. As the flop comes down, deuce 3-4,
Okay.
complete rainbow, 3 cards to the nut badoogie. Here comes the turn card down and dirty. Brings in the 7 of clubs. Actually helps out Charlie a little bit here now. Backdoors into the nut clubs. Here comes the river down and dirty. Brings in the 5. So a chop it up from Charlie and a chop it up for
Daniel's
Nelson.
gone.
And Daniel eliminated. See you later.
Wow. How good is Nelson running? I probably sounded like a girl just then. My voice broke. But look at this rail. And look at Nelson just absolutely cleaning up. And unfortunate for Daniel, gets it in with the best of it and gets very unlucky.
And the 4-liner as the 5 peels off in the river, both making the wheel at the river. And all of a sudden, the ace-9 of Charlie Hu
well, he's going to be quite happy. He
chops it
that
up with
25K.
Nelson. Yeah, chops it up with Nelson and gets a huge pay jump too. Wow. $25,000 on the nose.
$25,000.
And Daniel Lee, who found the queens, goes down in flames, but he does pick up $40,600 for third. So
well done to Daniel.
Well done to Daniel Lee. Finds the queens, but they are no good. The 4-liner straight comes out on the board. The gut shot 5 hitting at the river, making both Nelson Dong and Charlie Hu the wheel. So they're going to chop this one up. And all of a sudden, we're down to heads-up play. Wow, what an unbelievable turn of events in the last half an hour. We hope all of you at home are enjoying the action and the commentary we're bringing to you. We are apologising for a couple of the technical glitches downstairs, but
and my screaming into the mic.
And the screaming from Jackson into the mic. But we appreciate you all sticking by us as we see the conclusion of the Play Live Melbourne Grand Prix Series main event. Oh, my God.
Yeah, guys, I really doubt Nelson's going to be making a deal here unless it is, as we do mention with a min, it is possible to lose here, guys. So it definitely isn't like a guarantee that Nelson wins this, but it is a high likelihood, right? As we've got over 500 viewers, Monkey. So everyone's tuned in to the Nelson Dong Masterclass. This one could be over in a hand. This one could be over in an hour. It really just depends on how the cards come. And man, this is insane. Thanks for the comments, guys. This is quite fun for us. And we are poker lovers deep down. So don't get me wrong. We love this just as much as you guys, potentially even more. And Wildcard Poker Nelson says, we could negotiate more than 106K. Don't know about that one. But Nelson just puts the pressure on and Charlie's going to have to fold this one. So, man, what a masterclass. And as Sammy says, when you're on, you're on.
Yeah, no doubt. Wildcard Poker coming in there. Nelson could probably negotiate for more than 106K at this point. That's obviously not going to happen. And it looks like there's going to be no deal made here. They're going to be playing for all the chockies. And Nelson with a huge commanding chip lead here.
Even the security guards getting in the mix here, Monkey. They just love to see it.
They're bringing in the security guards on the rail. Have a look at how big this rail is here at 11:15 at night on Monday night, seeing the conclusion of this main event as Charlie cannot find a hand, picks up the 8-5 off on the button first to act. He's going to flick it straight in the bin. Nelson found the king 10. So not only running good, but got 90% of the chips in play. Wow.
That is going to be hard to lose. So he's sitting at 10-1 chip advantage, which means he's got a lot of big blinds and he is not going to be losing this one too often. Obviously, security is there because Daniel just got robbed. That is a potential. Nelson saved my entire family in a house fire last year. Great bloke. Have heard that one. He did tell me that story. So shout out Nelson.
Nelson finding the 7-4 blackjack hand, 11 double down, one card only, face down, please dealer. What's he going to do here in the button? He just jams it.
Man, this is more
Can
aggressive
Charlie
than I
find
would
a call?
say. This is
It's got the Queen 5 of hearts.
This is a close
And he's
spot.
got a call.
Yeah, this could be over, Monkey. I'll let you call it.
Yeah, so Charlie finds the call with the Queen 5 of hearts. He is in front at the moment against Nelson Dong, who has the 7-4 off. But if Nelson can find the winner here, he's going to be the champion.
Yeah, I think I know. Of
the main event. Here comes the flop. It comes 6-6-9. No help to Nelson so far. Needs to find a 7 or a 4. Here comes the turn. Brings in the king of clubs. No help. Here comes the river down and dirty.
Oh!
And it brings in the 4, and Nelson gets it done at the river.
Oh, my goodness.
He finds the 4. Handshakes all round. Nelson Dong is your winner of the main event. GG's in the chat. Charlie comes out second best there with the best hand. And the 7-4.
Man, when it's your day, it's your day.
Of Nelson Dong gets it down. Look at the rail. They're going to clap it in. Handshakes and high fives all around. GG's in the chat. That is all she wrote. How about Howie coming into the dealer's chair and dealing up some sick coolers?
Oh, he's going to be wrapped with that one.
And Nelson's going to be wrapped. He's going to pick up just over $100,000 for taking down the main event here at Play Live. Jackson Young, what an event. I know we had a couple of system glitches, but that was totally worth it the last at least half an hour or hour of this stream. We very much appreciate all of you guys sticking by us. That was the Play Live main event. $1,500 buy-in, $472,580 in the prize pool. Nelson Dong, your champion, taking down $106,580 for first. Eat your heart out, Nelson Dong lovers. as he put on an absolute masterclass. That is all she wrote from us here at Play Live. Thank you very much to Jackson Young joining me in the comm booth alongside me, myself, Joshua Monk, aka Monkey, and we also had the privilege of having Lachlan Crilly in earlier. So thanks to Lachlan Crilly and to Daniel Gabriel who joined us in the chat. That's all she wrote. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Until next time.
Appreciate
Ciao for
the
now.
love.
You too. Bye.
Stop guessing and start studying like a professional. Welcome to the Vault at Octopi Poker. The Vault offers powerful study tools and data drawn from real tournaments. We've cataloged the action from the highest stakes arenas including Triton, the WSOP, and PLAYLIVE. This isn't just a library of random solves. It's a curated archive of the most pivotal hands played at the world's most prestigious final tables. These are the hands that define careers. For these hands, we've provided comprehensive pre-flop and post-flop simulations. You can see exactly how the world's best navigated these high-pressure spots. Compare the actual play against the theoretical GTO baseline. Analyze the frequencies, the sizing, and the EV of every action taken under the brightest lights. Studying the Vault allows you to move beyond abstract theory and see how poker is actually won at the highest level. Boost your edge by studying reality, not just theory. Sign up today at Octopipoker.ai. I'll see you inside.